In the heart of a sleepy riverside town, where the Mississippi's waters had turned from gentle friend to raging monster overnight, a little girl named Lily stumbled through the mud-slicked streets. Her pink raincoat was torn, her cheeks streaked with tears and grime, and in her small hands she clutched a sodden teddy bear, the only remnant of her shattered world. The flood had come like a thief in the night, swallowing homes and dreams whole. But what no one expected was for this fragile child, no more than 8 years old, to sprint straight toward a thunderous roar of motorcycles, where a gang of burly bikers huddled under a crumbling bridge, their leather jackets glistening in the relentless downpour. Lily's feet pounded against the flooded pavement, her breath coming in desperate gasps. She had lost everything: her cozy bedroom with the star-stuck ceiling, her mother's warm hugs, her father's silly jokes. The evacuation sirens had wailed, but in the chaos, her family had been torn apart. Her parents had shoved her onto a neighbor's boat, promising to follow, but the currents had betrayed them. Now, alone and terrified, she spotted the bikers, their bikes lined up like steel beasts, engines idling with a low growl that vibrated through her bones. To anyone else, they looked like trouble. Tattooed arms, scarred faces, chains dangling from belts. But to Lily, in her moment of utter despair, they were the only souls in sight. "Please," she sobbed, skidding to a halt before them, her voice barely audible over the storm. "Please help me find my mommy and daddy." The bikers turned as one, their helmets off, revealing weathered faces etched with life's hard roads. The leader, a towering man named Jack, with a salt and pepper beard and eyes like storm clouds, knelt down slowly, his massive frame casting a shadow over her. His gang, the Iron Wolves, were known in these parts not for charity, but for their roaring rides through back roads, living by their own code. Whispers followed them: outlaws, rebels, men who'd seen too much darkness. Jack's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "Kid, you shouldn't be out here alone. Where's your folks?" Lily's lower lip trembled as she poured out her story, words tumbling like the floodwaters themselves. Her home gone, her parents missing after the boat capsized. The other bikers exchanged glances: Big Mike with his missing tooth grin, Slim with his quiet intensity, and Rosa, the only woman in the group, her braids swinging like a pendulum. They weren't parents, weren't heroes. They were drifters, bound by brotherhood and the open road. But something in Lily's wide, pleading eyes cracked the armor they'd built around their hearts. Jack straightened, wiping rain from his face. "All right, boys and Rosa, we can't just leave her here. Mount up, we're going hunting for her family." The group murmured in surprise. This wasn't their scene. They had planned to ride out of town, away from the mess, heading west where the sun still shone. But Jack's word was law, and deep down, each of them carried scars that echoed Lily's pain. Big Mike had lost a sister to a car wreck years ago. Slim had grown up in foster homes, bounced around like a forgotten toy. Rosa, tough as nails, had fled an abusive home as a teen. They knew abandonment's sting. With Lily perched on Jack's bike, her small arms wrapped around his waist, the Iron Wolves revved their engines and plunged into the chaos. The town was a nightmare. Cars half submerged, houses tilted like drunken sailors, people shouting from rooftops. Debris floated everywhere: furniture, photos, lives unraveling in the current. Lily pointed the way, her voice steadying as she described the last spot she'd seen her parents, a makeshift dock by the old mill. As they rode, an unexpected twist unfolded. A radio crackled on Jack's bike news of looters taking advantage of the flood, preying on the vulnerable. The bikers spotted them first. A group of shady figures ransacking an abandoned store, loading goods into a truck. One of them, a wiry man with a sneer, noticed Lily and laughed. "Look at that biker's playing babysitter. Hand over the kid. She might fetch a price in this mess." Jack's jaw tightened. The Iron Wolves formed a protective circle around Lily, engines roaring in defiance. Big Mike cracked his knuckles. "You touch her, and you'll wish the flood took you first." A tense standoff ensued, fists flying in the rain, slashed air. It wasn't a fair fight. The bikers outnumbered and out-toughed the looters, who scattered like rats. But in the scuffle, Slim took a nasty gash to his arm from a broken bottle. Lily screamed, tears mixing with rain. But Rosa scooped her up, whispering, "It's okay, sweetie. We're the good guys today." They pressed on, bandaging Slim as they went. Lily's trust grew. She shared stories of her family, how her dad taught her to fish, how her mom baked the best apple pies. The bikers listened, their gruff exteriors softening. Jack confessed quietly to Lily. "I had a little girl once. Lost her to illness when she was about your age. Broke me. That's why I ride to outrun the hurt." His voice cracked, a vulnerability he'd hidden for years. Lily placed her tiny hand on his. "You didn't lose me today." Deeper into the flooded zones, another twist hit like a wave. The old mill was underwater, but shouts echoed from a partially collapsed warehouse nearby. There, clinging to a makeshift raft of debris, were Lily's parents, exhausted, injured, but alive. Her mother, Sarah, had a broken leg. Her father, Tom, was fighting to keep them afloat against the surging current. "Lily!" Sarah cried, spotting her daughter atop the bike. But the rescue wasn't simple. The waters were treacherous, swirling with hidden dangers. Jack and the bikers ditched their rides on higher ground and waded in, forming a human chain. Big Mike, the strongest, anchored them with a rope tied to his bike. Rosa swam out first, her strokes powerful from years of survival. She reached the raft, but a sudden surge pulled it under. Tom slipped into the depths, vanishing beneath the murky surface. The climax crashed over them like the flood itself. Lily's scream pierced the storm. "Daddy!" Jack dove in without hesitation, his massive arms cutting through the water. Time slowed, rain pounding, hearts racing. He grabbed Tom's collar just as the man went limp, hauling him up with sheer willpower. The others pulled them back, coughing and sputtering. Sarah clung to Rosa, sobbing. On the muddy bank, Tom gasped for air, his eyes locking on Jack's. You saved me!" But the true shock came when Tom recognized Jack. Wait, Jack Harlan? From high school? In a twist of fate that fate itself seemed to weave, Tom revealed they were old classmates, separated by decades. Jack had been the school bully back then, the kid from the wrong side of the tracks who'd pushed Tom around. "I was a fool," Jack admitted, voice thick with emotion. "Life kicked me down, but seeing you now, helping your family, it's like redemption I never deserved." Tom, weak but forgiving, clasped his hand. "You've changed, brother. You've saved us all." As paramedics arrived, summoned by a flare, Big Mike shot into the sky. The group huddled together. Lily threw her arms around Jack, her teddy bear pressed between them. "You're my hero," she whispered. The bikers, bruised and soaked, shared nods of quiet pride. They weren't outlaws that day. They were guardians, reminders that beneath rough exteriors beat hearts capable of profound kindness. In the days that followed, the town rebuilt, but the story of the Iron Wolves spread like wildfire. Strangers who judged them by their leathers now offered handshakes and hot meals. Lily's family recovered, their bond stronger, inviting the bikers to dinner, a simple act that bridged worlds. Jack, forever changed, started a charity ride for flood victims, turning his pain into purpose. And so, in a world that often feels cold and divided, remember this: true humanity shines brightest in the storm. It's in the selfless act of a stranger, the kindness that defies expectations, the help extended without question. It's the truth that we're all connected, capable of restoring faith when we choose compassion over fear. Let Lily's tears and the biker's roar remind us goodness lives in us all, waiting for the moment to roar back to life.